Okay. Hello, Sarah. How are you?
I'm good.
That's
Welcome back.
that's my radio voice. Hi, hey everybody. We're here with Sarah Ann Martin from Virginia Beach. Long
It's
time
a good
listener, first
radio
time
voice.
caller. Yeah, that's right. Um, so we connected on Facebook, and the first question I'm going to have for you is Virginia Beach, Hampton Roads, Newport News, Chesapeake, Norfolk. Is it all Hampton Roads? Is it all Newport News? What? Give me a picture of where we live, where we are here.
So the Hampton Roads is it's also called Seven Cities. We've got Virginia Beach, Norfolk, Chesapeake, Suffolk, Portsmouth, Newport News, Hampton. Um, People include Poquoson, York County, Williamsburg. I mean, it's a pretty
Oh yeah.
collect all for
Okay.
the entire area over here. But each one has a different vibe. But they're all interconnected.
Yes.
So, if you're looking for something to do and you live in Virginia Beach, I mean, it's likely within, a 40-minute drive, possibly out in Norfolk. Maybe you want to go from a beach to, like a city with an art culture and breweries or a nightlife, but everything's within a quick driving distance.
Perfect. That's very helpful because you never know. So I'm up in the Northern Virginia, DC area, right? And I'm in Alexandria, Virginia. I mean, you can go from Alexandria to DC in 15 minutes across the bridge, but they're completely different cities. And you could go from Alexandria to Maryland in 2 minutes across the bridge. But there are people that will never go into Maryland, and there are people from Maryland who will never go into Virginia just because of reasons. So I was curious as to, like, when I say Virginia Beach, I think of Virginia Beach as the biggest of those seven cities. Is that true?
I mean, I haven't done the measurements, but I believe so.
Okay.
Yeah, Virginia Beach is pretty big. So we've got, 4 miles of boardwalk, which is one of the largest boardwalks in the country in the East Coast here. So it definitely stands out as a large place, even if the measurements aren't exact. Again, I'm not sure.
Well, and I was thinking like this, like Chesapeake occurs for me as like smaller town than Virginia Beach, and Norfolk. Like I know my grandparents lived in Norfolk, so like I remember going to Norfolk. I don't know if that's what was Norfolk, but I was like, yeah, it's just a little. It felt like a small town, whereas Virginia Beach feels like a city ish.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the boardwalk, but the city ish.
Well, depending on how you're measuring it too. I mean, I want to say by land area, Suffolk is bigger,
Hmm.
and that's part of the Hampton Roads. But if you're looking for bigger and you mean city, then maybe you're looking for, that Norfolk vibe.
Interesting.
And
Okay.
if you're looking bigger, by like area of water included, then I guess we're looking at Virginia Beach.
Right. It's funny. I was I was interviewing an agent from Denver on Friday, and she's just like fifth generation Denver. And I was asking stuff, and I was like, so what are the good neighborhoods? And she's like, well, do you want me to answer, or do you want me to answer like now or historically? I'm like, now because I'm not crazy like you are. She's like, if you really want a great coffee shop in 1912, this coffee shop, and I'm like, what are we talking? I'm looking for like a Yelp review, not a history. So it was great to talk to. I got to edit this out so she
Yeah.
doesn't yell at me. But
I'm gonna brush up on my history
no,
lesson.
it's the other way around. I'm like, that it is funny. One of the things that we do with Community Connect is this thing called Neighborversary. And it's like, you imagine there's somebody celebrates their first year in the new neighborhood, or they celebrate their first 5 years. And then you got some people, they've been there for 20 years, right? Like I lived in my house in Alexandria. We bought it 20 years and then left. I mean, there are people there who have been there for 50, but the people who are there for 20 are like serious residents, right? And
Right.
so it's cool to have them share like, oh yeah, this used to be farmland, or Do you remember the
Mhm.
Piggly Wiggly? But if you're trying to figure out where to send your dog to the vet, no, I do not need to know that there is a horse vet back in on Palmer's Ranch. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
um,
So I'm originally from New York,
mhm,
and I've been in Virginia Beach now for 10 years. Well, it's 9.5, right? But I'm almost here long enough to be like, yeah, I'm a local. I'm not a transplant, right?
yeah, right,
I guess some might argue that. But speaking to true locals, people born and raised here,
yeah.
that was something interesting that I learned. Virginia Beach. I mean, we've got, 500,000 people here, and it's got this massive population, all of these builds, right, all of these structures, all of this life. 20 years ago, farmland town center was just fields and
Yeah,
grass,
yeah,
and kids were riding their bikes through there.
yeah.
And it is interesting to hear from people who have lived somewhere their entire life, and hear about those changes and that organic growth over time.
Oh, absolutely. And I think it's a cool way to screw with people too. Like if you're in New York, you're like, yeah, this whole area here, it was farmland 10 years ago. Like nobody's know, you're like in Manhattan. You're like, we had one street and it was horses, like my kids are in their 20s now. And if you sit there, it's like there's not that big of a difference between now and the 80s in terms of like what life was like on the street. I mean, you don't have
Yeah.
iPhones, you don't have this, but like it's not like we weren't fighting woolly mammoths, you know. You know what I mean? We didn't
Yeah.
have like horse-drawn carriages 50 years ago. It was same kind of thing. You just didn't have as much television as you do now. Um
Well, and I was just talking to my kids yesterday about that. I've got two teenagers and a toddler, and I said, I realized not only am I older than Google, but also I'm old enough to remember when we could smoke in a
yeah,
McDonald's.
yeah.
And I remember sitting at McDonald's having a cheeseburger while my grandmother was puffing on a cigarette.
Yeah.
So maybe we weren't riding horse and buggies
No, no.
and
Oh,
fighting woolly mammoths, but things have changed.
Uh, absolutely. You think about I mean, I remember thinking about when I was in high school, like calling, you like at 9 o'clock, things shut
Yeah.
down, right? You can't call somebody after 9 o'clock. So you're
Right.
driving around, like looking for lights in windows, who's up, and then just even just that. Think about if you didn't make a plan in advance with somebody to get together,
Mhm.
y'all aren't getting together that night. I mean, like you're out and
Right.
you're going down to the mall for fireworks. You guys don't have a plan, y'all are screwed. Now that changed at about the late '90s. You started ending up with, you know, old school brick cell phones and that kind of stuff, and then you're in your way. But yeah, Matt,
Reagan knows that 10 cents a minute added up.
oh, the funniest thing is you sit there and you talk about like what a big deal like friends and family call circles were for like long
Yeah.
distance. Oh my, long distance was a thing. God bless.
I know. I went to Greece and I didn't worry about long distance in the slightest.
Well, what's interesting about that is that is the place, from my perspective, where you do start thinking about that again because you get international minutes. Like I
Yeah.
remember, like I have a buddy who's in from Australia, and like if we call, I think at some point I talked to him and we were talking for an hour, and I like looked at my phone bill. It was like $100 phone bill or something like that. And like I'm like, yeah, that's what it used to be with just calling somebody out of your area code. It's just
Right, right. Could have been just a couple blocks away.
yeah, right. I mean, seriously. So we went down our tangent on this podcast of where are they now, or how is life now in the '80s. But so let's dig in just a little. Here's what I would love to ask you about Virginia Beach.
Yeah.
So, one of the big things that I'm doing is we're rolling out this thing called Community Connect to different metro areas around the country. And so Virginia Beach is one that's like in my pocket. I'm like, oh, I know I'm going to go back to Virginia Beach. I need to get Virginia Beach activated. It's not where I'm traveling, but it's like one of the places I know I like. And so I would love to, if we, and are you in Virginia Beach? That's your place, right?
It is.
Okay,
It's where I live. It's where I work. You know, I work the entire Hampton
of
Roads,
course.
but I'm stationed in Virginia Beach a majority of my time.
Perfect. So what I would love to do is to break Virginia Beach down into maybe the, 6 to 10 well-known communities that make up Virginia Beach, and you can share them, and if you want to position me on a map, and here's the water, right? Here's the Atlantic, and then there's the other six cities or whatever. But then if we're in Virginia Beach, I'm guessing that one of those communities is like the waterfront or the beachfront, right? And then
Mhm.
there's this one and this one and this one, because each one of those communities is going to be its own little version of Community Connect, right? Like we'll have Community
Yes.
Connect Virginia Beach, but we'll have the Community Connect like the businesses in the ocean front, and then the
Mhm.
coffee shops over in, Virginia Beach West or whatever it's called. So first off, get me oriented. I'm coming, like I'm a new person. I want to come to Virginia Beach. And you're like, all right, well, listen, here are the different places you can kind of live in Virginia Beach.
Yeah. So Virginia Beach, I fell in love with it because, if you want beach living, if you want outdoor lifestyle, if you want family friendly, maybe you want rural, maybe you're historical, or maybe you love to shop. There is a community for everyone in Virginia Beach. So like that beach and coastal living, a ton of people here. The ocean fronts for tourists, right? Like that's the spot to go. And I love going there because everyone you see is happy. Uh, but it's true, it makes me so happy.
Absolutely.
Uh, but the locals, they love the North End, Chicks Beach, Sandbridge. If you're looking for like a bay and outdoor lifestyle, we've got like the Shore Drive area, Cape Henry, family friendly communities, Princess Anne, Great Neck, Red Mill is super popular. If you're looking for that rural area, then you've got like Pungo. And then the historical areas out here, are going to be like Talia and Lynn Haven. But we've got a ton of different communities. Shopping centers are going to be like that town center area in Virginia Beach. It's the one with the tallest building. Everyone can see it from like, all the highways. Pembroke, Hilltop. So all types of communities here.
And you said one that I kind of just missed the name of it. It sounded like Pungo.
Yeah, yeah.
Is that
And
what it's
for
called?
everyone,
Pungo?
please, everyone forgive me if I pronounce anything wrong. I'm from New York.
No, it's funny,
So,
Sarah. That's one of the things that I do when I talk to people. I was like, "Well, tell me what is it that I'm gonna
yeah.
mispronounce?" Like I was in
Mm,
I was in Lafayette, Louisiana, and
yeah.
I was calling it Lafayette, and they're like, "No, no, it's Lafayette," or maybe it was the reverse or something like that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
I've been here almost a decade and I call it Norfolk, and it
oh
is
sure,
Norfolk.
yeah.
So I get it wrong every time.
You can
I
come up to
can't I can't say it.
Virginia. You come up to Virginia and visit McLean,
Yeah.
but it's McLean up here, or Stanton, right? All these different things.
Yeah.
Um, okay, no, I wasn't calling your pronunciation into account. I was just I feel like I missed it. So okay, Pungo. All right, so
Yeah.
basically, if I took these different communities that you mentioned, um,
Mhm.
and then then of course, like you said, there's the ocean front, and I'm just thinking about that big statue of Neptune, right? Like that's the big
Oh, I love it.
center of there.
Yeah.
What are the other kind of cool places to go and walk, or go like for, nightlife or shopping, or not shopping like mall shopping, but like walking around seeing cool shopping?
Yeah, so personally, I love the Vibe District down in Virginia Beach here. The Vibe District is artsy and has like community shops and walk. They have a walk where you can see like 17 different bird houses. It's
Mm.
in the middle of Virginia Beach. I love that, and they've got tons of little shops and tons of little like mom and pop restaurants, coffee shops, all types of areas. But the Vibe District is my favorite. Um, and then otherwise, for that nightlife, I guess especially as a tourist, that ocean front, because everything is within walking distance. You know,
Hmm.
you can just go down the boardwalk and hit like Johnny's or Oceans or, you know, Waterman's. You can do, you know, mirrored maze or mini golf, or, you know, that nightlife is fun.
Yeah.
On the weekends, they do live music, just completely free and out in the open. And it's so much fun to just go block to block, and you have an entirely different vibe on the ocean front during the summer.
Yeah.
So
No, that's great. And so what's your community? Like what community do you live in?
I live in Pine Meadows.
Pine Meadows, okay.
Yeah.
And is that like you know, is that like a single family house community? Is that a townhouse community? Is that a apartment building community? Like what does that feel like?
Yeah, so it is a single family detached home community for the most part. Just 1970s to 90s, tons of mature trees and, you know, a few newer
Hmm.
subdivisions. It's quiet, it's established, and the neighborhood is. It's utopian. I mean, everybody waves to their neighbors. When
Right.
I moved in, my neighbors left plants on my porch with welcome to the community cards, you
Right.
know,
Right.
things that people don't expect from their neighbors anymore. So that's what attracted me to Pine Meadows, was the just that neighborhood pride
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
community that surrounds it.
Love it. Love it. Perfect. Um, Okay, and so one last question, and then I'll ask you a couple of separate questions. But one last question is, what are if you had to pick a couple of cool Virginia Beach activities that like you're excited about every year, or it's like the returning of the swans in Capistrano, or like the Fourth of July celebration, or whatever. Like, are there any like really cool Virginia Beach activities that are or events that you get excited about?
Yeah, so they do like the Neptune Festival every year. I believe that's in September, and that's got like a race and arts and crafts, live concerts, sand sculptures. They do the 4th of July at the oceanfront, and I have gone for the fireworks for that. That's absolutely stunning to see fireworks over the ocean.
Mm,
The traffic getting home can be really rough, but if you're staying at a hotel down there, the 4th of July fireworks are absolutely worth it. They do a boardwalk art show, usually once a year. I believe that's in October. And, you know, local artists put out their art to be viewed. We have the holiday lights at the beach, where you could drive your car down the boardwalk
mm.
and, you know, look at the lights up close, which is absolutely gorgeous. Again, especially when your windows are down and you're feeling that salty air, right? Like, how many people get to experience Christmas like that?
Yeah.
The strawberry Pungo Strawberry Festival is in May. And then, you know, we've always got like summer concerts going on, like I said, down at the ocean front. On the weekends, it's just always booming with like concerts and magic shows too, all types of like talent down there. They have the surfing down at the oceanfront as well. And, you know, that's one of the oldest surfing contests on the East Coast. So that draws in a ton of visitors, and is really fun to watch. And yeah, I mean, we have lots of things that happen every year.
No, that sounds great. That's exactly what I was looking for. Awesome. All right. Well, let me do a quick shift. I'm going to ask you a couple questions just